Actually, I think we are afraid or like afraid to be alone ourselves. When you have to look inside yourself, So people are like a little bit, what we say, hesitate or like maybe afraid to look within yourself. So for that, you have to be alone and look inside. If you want to look inside, you have to be alone and look inside. But people, they never like to be alone and they feel lonely. When you see the right thing by looking inside your life, you will never be lonely. You will never be lonely.
I'm Olivia Clementine, and this is Love and Liberation. Today, our guest is Jetsunma Jamyang Palmo. Jetsunma is a Buddhist nun, teacher, and practitioner who has completed over 9 years of retreat and 9 years of Shedra Buddhist studies. She was the primary teacher at Turquoise Leaf Nunnery in Nepal. Jetsunma is currently pursuing studies in psychology and philosophy in the U.S. I wanted to know a little bit about your early schooling, if you were raised with any kind of Buddhist tradition, because you did go to school connected to the Tibetan government and exile school. You were raised in India, so I'm just curious what your connection is to Tibetan heritage and Buddhist practice.
Yeah, so actually my family is much more connected to this Buddhist, as they are Buddhists, like Tibetan are like always Buddhist. So that's why I was raised in this Buddhist family. So my parents, they had influenced our children. I mean, my brother and sister in a very good way. Like they had always been like, and they taught us about this karma, and like they always speak in a what we say, the way of a Buddhism's practice, how to be kind, patient, and all these things. So we have always been exposed to the practice of like chanting mantras and circumambulating these monasteries and like visiting the lamas and getting blessing from them. So in our like in family, there is a routine like to always from morning to evening, like how we should practice. And at morning, when we raise up, and we have to chant this Manjushri's mantra. So we children, we always has to do that thing as a routine. So at evening, then my father, he would give a mala to us, like for all our children, and we have to chant this mantra of our Loketeshwar, Om Mani Padme Hum Shri. And at night before the dinner, we have together, we have family gathering, and we have to recite this Guru Rinpoche's prayer and Green Thara's prayer, like all the time. Yeah, so we are like literally exposed to this Buddhism's practices, by our parents.
And was it a specific lineage that you were connected to, or just like then a school? General. Yeah. In 1996, you were recognized as the incarnation of the nun Karma Sultram Ketchup Palmo. Did this change anything for you in your practice and motivation?
Yeah, this recognition of me as a Karma Sultram Ketchup Palmo's incarnation, it had changed a lot. So even though I was a Buddhist and doing all these chanting mantras and all these things, but inwardly I was not well acquainted with this Buddhism. So once I came to know that I was her incarnations, and when I came to read the biography of her, then it motivated me and it encouraged me to take this Buddhism as serious, in a serious way, and I want to explore the real meaning of that thing. So I think in my life, her biography has like made a good influence, great influence to me to be in this Buddhist field.
So beautiful. And you were saying that you took 2 years to decide if you were going to become a nun. What did you think about during those 2 years?
So I was in my 10th standard when I was recognized as her incarnation. So that time I didn't enter into a nun's life directly, like right away. So I asked them for a time for like 2 years to think about that. So it was a serious things. It was not a like small matter. So that's why like it took like 2 years for me to think about that nun's life. So after 2 years, I graduated the high school. Then I think I was quite ready for that new life. So then right I went to the nunnery, which was founded by Gelungma Karma Palmo. So that time in their nunnery, which is like quite near Dharamsala, there was no shadow over there. So it was just for the practice and like prayers only. So I want to explore the real Buddhism. So that's why like I thought first I should learn and like go deep and get some get some knowledge about this Buddhism. So only then like I can help the people in like in a different way. Otherwise, like if I have no idea and like if I go on teaching, then it doesn't make any sense for me. So that's why I chose to went to South India, which is the first nunnery university. It's first nuns university under the leadership of His Holiness Peno Rinpoche. So I went there and I graduated till master degree, and it is based on like 9 years with this philosophy institute.
Wow.
When I graduated from there, and I felt that still there's still something that I want to know, to get acquainted with this Buddhism. So though I have the knowledge of all this Buddhisms, like different doctrines, and but still I don't have the real practice. I don't have the real practice. So that's why then I decided to. Then again, I decided to go to somewhere in a retreat center to practice whatever I have learned. Yeah. So that's why from there I went to Nepal to His Holiness to Sangha Rinpoche's nunnery. And I was admitted there for the retreat center, and I stayed for intensive retreat for 7 years there, and
7 years.
7 years,
Yeah.
and 3 years as not that strict, but I can also go outside, and like I can also like enter the retreat. So it was like an open retreat.
So like 7 years, a little more strict, and 3 years more open. And how did you meet Sanak Rinpoche?
Actually, Tuksar Rinpoche is my uncle in my mom's relative. So I know him when I was very little, 8 or 9, at the age of 8 or 9, when I visited Nepal. So I got to visit him that time. It was the first time to visit him. Then I know about like Tuksanga's family and his brothers, all this thing. So later on, like I came to know there is a retreat center of him in Nepal. So I also want to try that thing, and I asked him to like whether I will get admission in his retreat center, and like then after he agreed to admit me.
Yeah. You've been a retreat master at Kusum Kanjaling. What advice you give for someone just in preparing themselves to go into retreat? How do we prepare? I know it's a long journey. If you're going to go into a retreat for 7 years, that's different than a week or something. But like in general, how do you prepare your mind and your body to move towards a retreat space?
Actually, I think before going to retreat, you should have learned something. It's not like that you are directly entering the retreat center or something. You should have had some idea on this about this field. Like you should have a little, not if not much, but you should have at least a little knowledge about actually what's this Buddhism is about, and all their perspectives in brief. So that's why it won't be like problem to you when you have been in the retreat center. In retreat center, they just teach whatever you have to practice, not their philosophy and all this thing. So when you don't have any idea of this philosophy and you enter the retreat center, it's quite difficult for you to differentiate, because there are different kinds of Buddhas or gurus teaching, right? So you have to know to segregate what kind of like these teachings are, and it's easier for you to know and to understand, to contemplate on it.
Yeah, it is true. I guess a lot of people will just look up something and just go to it without educating themselves. That seems wise. For you personally, what have been the benefits of practicing?
What we say, actually, the practice may make you how to live your life. If you don't think about the long term, if you think about the long term, the practice, it gives you the show you the path to the enlightenment or Buddhahood. But if you think about like instant thing, it helps the people to live their how to live their life, in an easier way without stress and understanding among the community and the people around you, without any depression. So I think it's the practice make you a very insulated type of person, from this suffering or from the depression of this daily routines of our life.
We all have ups and downs in our life. And if we're practitioners, what do you recommend to keep diligence in our practice? What are some ways we can really bring ourselves back on, as we're practicing, so we're more awake?
For that, I think although the people they are more interested in meditation and concentration, but in my opinion, I think the first thing before the meditation and concentration, you should have had the understanding of this world, the life of the world, and the situation, whether it's good or bad, right? So, and how to think upon it in a positive way, and what is the influence of a negative, So you should have had understanding of the positive and negative influence of this world, and how to deal with it. Then only then you can take the step of meditation to concentrate or to tame your mind. But before that, I think that we must have the understanding of this samsara, how it's happening. And so I think the understanding, it should be like the priority is the understanding. So not just understanding the samsara, but the antidotes to deal with it with a compassion way, in a kind way, or understanding the impermanence and understanding the karma and all these things. But all these things comes from hearing wisdom. So you should first hear and listen, or you should have a knowledge about the Buddhism. So that's why I think first we should have some knowledge before going to retreat and meditate there. So that's why I think. But most people, they tends to just go on meditation and trying to tame their mind. But before that, you should have understand. It takes a very long time, and it's very hard for you to make to tame your mind and to have a good concentration on this meditation. So if you understand the way of dealing and what is going on in the samsara, it will help you right away, instant. So that's it's more benefit. So in further, if you can carry on with meditation, that's best thing for you. But I think before that, you should need understanding, and you should know how to deal with this suffering on samsara with Buddhist perspective, like kindness, being kindness and compassion and all this. It works. It helps a lot.
So I know that you're co-leading a Shedra on compassion and wisdom right now. Could you share a little bit about what wisdom is from the Buddhist perspective when we speak of that?
Yeah, I usually told my student of Shedra that general universities wisdom, it teach you how to make a life, but this Buddhism wisdom, it teach you how to live a life. Yeah, so it's not just about it's just leading straight to a path of enlightenment or Buddhahood or something, but it teach you how to think, how to eat, how to do the activities in a very good way, so that it won't hurt or harm the others and even yourself. So it shows you what we positive way of life of living, you know. So though it's a religion, but I think it's more about the ethics of this people, you know, general ethic of people. It shows you how to lead your life in a positive way.
We talk about the merging of compassion and wisdom. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Actually, when we talk about the title like compassion, it's always related to the karma, because compassion starts from the love. It starts from the love, but love is not that easy to generate for all the people, you know. We love the people who are very close to us, and like who are like related, you know. We cannot generate love to all the people. So that's why for that thing we have to have the knowledge about the karma, like life and next life after this. So in Buddhism it teaches the karma that every sentient being are your mother. Every sentient being has been your mother in like taking so many like lives, you know. So it's how it reconnect to all the sentient being to you as your mother. So it becomes like easier way to, you know, to generate this compassion or bodhicitta mind to the people who you don't know, who you don't know ever exist. So that's why you it's easier for you to generate compassion, expand your love, and embrace all the sentient being, you know, disregarding the race or gender or whatever country it is. Yeah, so I think the karma is the main thing that we should know, which helps you to generate the compassion in a good way, an easier way.
And for someone that isn't quite comfortable yet with karma, they're like still investigating the truth of reincarnation. How can we investigate that for ourselves? You know, to get a understanding of that being true or untrue.
You mean about the karma?
Yeah, that karma.
Yeah, that nowadays now people like most of their like they have been accepting the karma. You can see like many movie clips that shows like most of they had the memories of, you know, one past life, or like even 6-7 past lives they had that experience. And in India, like most of the people, they although also they have the memories of their past lives and all this. But it's very hard for you because the mind is formless, right? So it's not like a concrete thing that you cannot point and like say this exists or something like it. But still there are some many, what we say, proof or evidence of having a karma. These days we see even in this thing. Yeah, so like we have to have faith and belief like that, you know. So if it's a kind of belief and faith, it helps you to lead you to a positive life. Then I think that belief is good thing, you know. If that belief, whatever belief it is, religious belief or whatever, it leads you to the wrong way, then it's not good. Even it's a religion or something, even it is a doctrine of God or something, it's not good, right? So if it's give you the positive outcome, I think it's good for you to believe. After all, it's about your life, right? So everybody wants to be in a positive, live the life in a positive way. Nobody wants to be have a negative things in their life.
And like kind of bringing that into daily life and in cultivating bodhicitta in daily life, awakening our heart for the benefit of all beings. What are just some contemplations we can have, you know, when we wake up and we live day to day in the busyness of modern life, to really support us to stay open to the suffering and not close down to all the people that are around us and all the sentient beings?
So main thing is like in now in like modern days and like modern daily lives, I can see the most people they are very busy. So that's why the people they are prone to get more depressed, and they are not patient these days, you know. Nobody wants to be tolerant, or like they get angry very easily because of their busy life, right? So I think the main thing regarding this modern society and looking at this current situation, I think the person should have good degree of patience in oneself. Like you become control. You cannot control yourself when you are like become agitated and you become very aggressive. So I think we should be more tolerant to the others. Yeah. So to be tolerant, you needs to be you should embrace the people, the people around you. You should be like more understanding to the people around you. Yeah. So eventually it goes to the compassion and love. Whatever wherever you goes, it eventually goes back to the compassion and love. So you should learn to love the people, understand the people around you. In that way you can gain more tolerance in your life, and it will decrease your like stress and depression in your life.
Kind of the busyness is so counterintuitive. We think we're getting somewhere and we're actually getting further from what we really want. Trying to have more something, trying to fit more into a day. And it's hard. It's like, hard to see the way modern world really pushes everybody to want that. And it's so easy to go out there, buy, work. But like to really sit there and try to contemplate really what the best motivation is for yourself and for this world, and to do that inner work is so much harder in many ways. Can you talk about that? Because it's a funny conflict.
Yeah, it's easier for easier for the people to like be like to indulge yourself in this modern world. We like to do that thing, but when it comes to the concentration, it's quite boring for you. You don't want to concentrate. You always want to make yourself busy by doing gardening or like writing something, reading. Even though you want to take break from your life, and you want to go somewhere in a quiet place, but even to that place, you don't leave your life. You don't take break from your daily habit. You still want to make yourself busy. So I think the people, like when we get stressed and suffering, we want to leave all this thing, and you want to go somewhere, and or some people, they tends to go to a dharma, and you want to take refuge and take shelter under the dharma. But after 1-2 days and 3 months, then they forget about their sufferings, and again they want to go back to their busy life. So it's because you didn't understand the real real suffering. The real suffering, it hasn't made an impression on your mind. So that's why you always sleep, and then you want to go back there. If you really want to take break and all this thing, then to practice and to meditate, it will be enthusiastic for the certain people. But if it's just for an instant that you want to take break from all this busy life, then again you are going to sleep one day. Yeah. Actually, I think we are afraid to be alone ourselves. When you have to look inside yourself, So people are a little bit hesitate, or maybe afraid to look within yourself. So for that, you have to be alone and look inside. If you want to look inside, you have to be alone and look inside. But people, they never like to be alone, and they feel lonely. When you see the right thing by looking inside your life, you will never be lonely. You will never be lonely. I think you will never be a lonely person.
Oh. Will you say more about that, the right thing?
Yeah, if we understand the drama of this samsara was happening, all this thing, and we understand it as our own karma or illusion. We have been carried away by all our daily life situation of high and low and all this. It's when you look at it, you will see it's a kind of drama. You cannot rely on it even for one moment. It will be one moment, it will be up, and one moment it will be down. Like you cannot rely on all this thing because of impermanence. But people, we don't know, and we expect everything to be in an organized way, in a good way, and like always a positive, So we always wish for that, and we expect a lot from from others, even from only for a good situation. So it's not going to happen because it's a samsara, it's not a reliable. So we should understand that it's just like your own hope, It's not going to be a permanent thing you want as your wish. So if we understand that thing, then we will know the true meaning of the samsara, how it goes, So it makes you, it enhances your knowledge or understanding regarding this Buddhism, I think.
And so when you say true, then you're speaking of something eternal in a way, like beyond samsara, that's not going to be always up and down, never changing.
Yeah, when you come to know about the true nature or the beyond this, beyond our mundane mind. So when you come to understand the true real nature of the mind, then you will see all this thing as an illusion. It has been like just mesmerizing you, and then when you understand it, then you don't take seriously whatever it happens in your world, in your life, whatever it happens, you don't take it seriously because you are not grasping, and you have known that it's just the illusion or the drama of this samsara. So once you realize the real nature, then we will come to know about that thing, all this thing. Then it will be easier for you to deal with all this thing.
I can imagine somebody listening and saying, well, then it's okay if people are suffering because it's an illusion. And so I would love to hear your reflection on that.
Yeah, even like it's in conventional truth, we say it's all these are illusion. Even in illusion, we want to be happy. Nobody wants to be like what we say, suffering. Even in an illusion, if you take the example of your dream, everybody wants to dream nicely, not a nightmare. Yeah, even though we know that dream is illusion, but still we love a nice and sweet dream. So we wish all the people every night sweet dream, right? So people are like, even though it's a dream, we know, but still we are attached to it.
I'm curious if there's anything in particular that you're really motivated by right now, any particular studies that you're very interested in, or.
So I think the main foundation of our practice, the four principle way of renunciation, I think that's the most, what we say, the cornerstone of this Buddhism field. I think we should have a good grounding, the foundation. We should have all this thing. So then on, like you can build on to a high up to the tantra. But if you don't have this good understanding on the for renunciation, then it's quite difficult for you. So that's why I always emphasize the people to have a good contemplation on this for renunciation. So some people thinks the renunciation means to give up all this world, or go to become a monk or nun. I don't mean that, but I mean renunciation means to understand that thing, the true nature of suffering, and the true nature of happiness, the true nature of impermanence, the true nature of activity, what daily you do. So I mean renounce means to understand, to segregate between the positive and negative, and disadvantage and advantage. Yeah. So when you go higher and higher, then you have to renounce from that renunciation. then you are going to be on the right path. But the ground thing is that first you have to get have some renunciation from
Thank you. And you're in school right now. You're going to Harvard? Are you going to start soon?
When I left from India, I contacted the Harvard University there, and they said they approve the Buddhism degree.
Mhm.
So when I went there, they said they approve only some institute, not all the Buddhist institute. So actually, I was graduate from the most standard Buddhist philosophy institute in South India,
Mhm.
but they don't have correlation with Harvard University. So they don't accept that thing. So like I cannot go in the degree program, but I'm trying to like attend through the certificate or some different way of program
Oh,
in Harvard.
wow. Because you have so much education already. I was curious why, just to go back into school. Is there something specific you want to study, or what inspired you to want to deepen your education?
Actually, I want to from my in traditional way. I have been educated in a traditional way, but not from universal or in a Western way. So I want to have some knowledge, and I want to get acquainted with this Western culture to look on the Buddhism from their way, so
Mm.
that I can impart this Buddhism in not just to the Asian, but among the Western people also in their own ways. So it will
Mm.
be more appropriate from them. So
Mm.
that's why that's the reason I want to do that thing. And like most of the thing is like people trust you when you are graduate from good university. So they come to like listen to you, and.
Mm.
So that's how the samsara works. So,
Yeah.
so I am in samsara, and also like to gain trust from the people, to impart and to help them. I need them to listen to me, right? So I have
Mm.
to have a name. So that's why I want to use that good university name, so that like I can help the people so attract them and like help them in a more good way, beneficial way.
That's beautiful. Thanks for helping all of us in samsara. We need your help. You're teaching right now in the West. Like right now you're in Montana.
First time.
The first
Yes.
time in the West
Since
teaching.
I arrived here, yeah, investor.
Wow. And how has that been? How has it been different than your previous teaching experiences?
Yeah,
Minus the language.
yeah. It's quite difficult for me to to teach in a different way. In Tibetan people, it's uh, acceptable to like talk them in our cultural way, like talking more about the aging and dying and suffering. But here, the people, they don't want to hear about the aging and dying and all these things. So I should always be like cautious in while I speak to them, because it was quite difficult for me to change my habit of like teaching. I've always been teaching in an Asian way, to the traditional way. So now I think like I will gradually like get used to it, how to represent this Buddhism teaching in a different way, to
Hmm.
approach them in different style.
That's so fascinating. I love, just so you know, all teachings on aging and death. Personally, I'm always like, yes, more. We need reality. Like, did people say to you that they didn't want to learn that, or how did you learn that?
Yeah, I came to know about from my
Okay.
friends, teachers. They said that like you're not supposed to always directly say them about like aging and all this thing. It had been in my mind that I should be like cautious in my speech.
Yeah.
Not to, yeah.
Well, I think you should sneak it in. I think you should. Each time we need it, that remembrance of what's actually happening with our physical bodies. And
Yeah, but it's difficult if you like speak in a public talk in non-Buddhist and like the people who are mixed up. But with the people is like completely into the Buddhism, then it's easier for them to introduce the in a Buddhism way, right?
mm.
So if it's among the public talk, then it's quite difficult for me to, and I have always to think before I talk.
And
So,
it's
yeah.
hard too, because I can imagine you really have to learn a very specific
Yeah.
vocabulary. It's not like you're speaking about anything, you're speaking about something very specific. So you have to find just the right words. So it's incredible that you're really making that transition. you've just done so much, like looking at all the practices you've done, and you've taught full cycles of tantric practices, just done so an extensive amount of teaching. And I'm curious if you aspire to teach that in the States as well, like to teach full cycles here.
Yeah, right now I'm teaching in Shedra just the basic teachings and not on the practice, but just for the Buddhist philosophy, just the philosophies here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also hope one day I would be happy to teach them in a practitioner field, right? Because I'm more interested in teaching this practitioner because I'm very much used to it.
Yeah.
So, but right now I'm teaching in Shedra, which is the Buddhist philosophy in a philosophical way.
Well, I'm just so grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.